Hello, humanities students. This is night, day 3, and we are going to be focusing on characterization and setting. Last night, or yesterday, sorry, during class, you probably got to some pretty challenging scenes with Ellie, his move into the ghetto, his agonizing wait to see if they were going to be deported, and then the first few nights in Birkenau, Auschwitz. So I'm guessing that in your dialectical journal entry number 3 that I'm hoping that you kind of worked through one of the scenes that stood out to you. For me, I actually wrote in my dialectical journal about Madame Schachter because she's also one of those characters who again reminds me of a character in the Iliad, Cassandra, who's cursed with knowing the future and nobody believing her. I might have also chosen the section where Ellie and sees his father beaten. So it just depends on what you decided to work through, and I hope that it was a bit cathartic and that we can talk about it tomorrow in class. Settings can change over time, and it's not just physically, but also psychologically. We're going to look at the nature of setting shifts in night. Many times the physical setting may be the same, but the setting shift affects the character psychologically. Shifts can happen within minutes, hours, or days in your setting. So remember, setting is time, place, and circumstance, and we're looking at how setting is affecting the character. This is a section that you read yesterday. So it says, what do you notice about the setting? What kinds of emotions are the characters showing? Some 2 weeks before Shavuot, a sunny spring day, people strolled seemingly carefree through the crowded streets. They exchanged cheerful greetings. Children played games, rolling hazelnuts on the sidewalks. Some schoolmates and I were in Ezra Malik's garden studying Talmudic treatise. Night fell. Some 20 people had gathered in our courtyard. My father was sharing some anecdotes and holding forth on his opinion of the situation. He was a good storyteller. So if it were me, I would notice that this setting is one that is quite happy. If I'm thinking of the mood and I'm looking at a sunny spring day, this right here gives me the feeling of joy, of peace, of happiness. Strolled is something that also builds this setting because you don't stroll when you're upset or you are stressed in any way. The word carefree also gives me that idea. Cheerful greetings. You have children playing games, rolling hazelnuts on the sidewalks. In the garden, studying is a nice, peaceful place to study. At night, they gather together, and he mentions here, just for some characterization, that his father was a good storyteller. Very direct characterization there. So now we're going to see how the same place changes because of the mood and because of what's going on in the story. So it says, we were ready to wait as long as necessary. The courtyard turned into something like an antechamber to an operating room. Operating rooms are full of fear and scary anticipation and anxiety. And so this idea that it's like an antechamber, that's a very different description than we had at that same place in the other passage. We stood waiting for the door to open. Neighbors, hearing the rumors, had joined us. We stared at our watches. Time had slowed down. What was the meaning of such a long session? So we notice the change here. We notice the emotion that the characters are showing, that they're noticing that time seems to be slowing down, that there's anxiety, there's nervousness, there's all these feelings from the same place. It's not, the setting hasn't changed, but everything, the details and the mood surrounding the setting have changed. Therefore, it's going to have a different kind of effect on your character. So, ways to question the text about psychological setting changes. At different moments in the story, has the setting changed for the character? So we're not talking about the setting physically changing. We're talking about all that the setting means, and has it changed for that character? How does my character fit into this place? Is this a safe place? So in the first passage, that was a very safe place. It was peaceful. It was a place of happiness and joy. You see it change once the Nazis have arrived and they're having everybody gather in the courtyard. Is it becoming something else? So we see that the ghetto is becoming something else. They were trying to claim the ghetto as theirs, and that everybody was going to be safe there, and they were going to sort of govern themselves. And then the Nazis continue to come in and start to impose these rules, and then they start to deport people, and that setting changes so drastically. So while you're reading today, you need to consider other moments in night. Can you already notice when the way the setting feels for a character begins to change dramatically? Remember that while you're reading, that you're going to want to note these things in your Post-it notes. You're also going to want to write some questions on the Post-it notes so that we can discuss them tomorrow in class. I found a lot of Post-it notes on the ground yesterday. The Post-it notes are designed to go in your book next to the piece of textual evidence that made you think about that, made you notice whatever it was, whether it was for in today, it's a setting and how that setting's affecting the character psychologically and physically, or if it's one of your level 2, level 3 questions that you have. So we want to gather those things and keep them in your book while you're reading. So it says reading tonight, but it's today during class, because remember, I'm making my promise. I'm giving you time today in class. You're reading 34 to 46. It's not a very long reading. So if you were behind yesterday, no harm, no foul. You start where you left off yesterday, and you get as far as you can during the reading time today. Audio chapter is on, if you search it in Google, it is there. I haven't posted to our Canvas page yet. So you're looking at plot today. You're looking at setting changes and how the setting affects the characters, and then you're asking your questions. I'm hoping that you'll have at least 3 to 4 annotations if you're actually writing in your book. 2 to 3 Post-it notes if you're using Post-it notes. If you're reading electronically, then if on a Kindle or something, then 2 or 3 notations that you have electronically made. Or open up your Genius Journal and start keeping track of these in your Genius Journal, sort of in a T-chart. So have a good day today. Use your time wisely, and I'll see you tomorrow.